Have you ever felt like your mind just won't stop? Like thoughts keep racing, stress keeps building, and no matter how much you try to relax, you can't seem to shut it off? You're not alone. Millions of people struggle with this every single day. But what if I told you that there's a method so simple, yet so powerful, it can help you calm your mind, release tension, and unlock a deeper sense of focus in just minutes? And what's more, this technique doesn't come from ancient gurus or complicated philosophies. It was created by Brendon Burchard, one of the world's most influential personal development teachers. Brendon Burchard didn't invent this technique out of thin air. He created it after years of studying performance, psychology, and human behavior. He noticed something interesting. Most people talk about meditation, but very few explain how to actually do it in a way that feels practical. He read countless books where authors spoke about the benefits of meditation, but left out the clear step-by-step process. And that's where his journey took a new turn. He decided to design something that would work for the busy, modern mind. Something simple, something effective. That's how the release meditation technique was born. Now, here's the part that most people don't know. This wasn't just a personal practice for Brendon. It was tested on thousands of people in his coaching programs, high-performance academies, and live events. People who were leaders, entrepreneurs, parents, and students, people who didn't have hours to sit on the floor chanting or trying to empty their minds. They needed something that could work fast and fit into their demanding lives. And time after time, the release meditation technique delivered results, helping them feel less stressed, more energized, and more present. Imagine this. A Fortune 500 executive comes into one of Brendon's workshops, shoulders tight, mind buzzing with endless decisions. 20 minutes later, after practicing the release meditation technique, she describes feeling as though 100 pounds have been lifted off her chest. That's the kind of transformation this practice brings. And yet, most people have never even heard of it. So why should you watch this video till the very end? Because in the next few minutes, you'll not only discover what the release meditation technique is, but you'll also learn how to do it step by step. You'll uncover why one single word, release, can have such a dramatic effect on your body and mind. And you'll understand why Brendon calls this practice one of the most important habits for anyone who wants to live with clarity, confidence, and purpose. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. Science now backs what Brendon was teaching long before it became mainstream. Studies show that simple mantra-based meditation lowers anxiety, improves focus, and boosts overall well-being. Brendon was ahead of the curve, teaching this to thousands before it ever appeared in glossy magazines or wellness apps. This isn't just meditation, it's a tool for high performance. A habit that separates those who feel constantly drained from those who show up every day with energy and presence. And let me add this. The word release isn't random, it's intentional. Think about how often you hold on to stress, shoulders tight, jaw clenched, mind stuck on replaying the same worries. When you focus on the word release, something powerful happens. Your body listens, your mind listens. You begin to let go. And in that letting go, you find the freedom to feel lighter, clearer, and stronger. Stay with me, because this isn't just theory. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to sit, what to say, how long to practice, and how to handle those endless thoughts that try to interrupt you. You'll leave not just with knowledge, but with a method you can use today, right now, to create peace in your life, no matter how chaotic things feel. So if you've ever felt like stress is controlling your days, if you've ever wanted to feel more focused, more present, and more alive, this video is for you. Because what you're about to learn is more than a technique. It's a doorway to a new level of calm and clarity, one that Brendon Burchard has been teaching to the world's highest achievers for years. Welcome to Habits of Greatness. This is the place where we explore the teachings of Brendon Burchard and uncover the daily practices that lead to extraordinary lives. If you're ready to take control of your mind and build habits that will transform your future, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our growing community. Your journey to greater peace and performance starts right now. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to hear may just change the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you live. Before we talk about the release meditation technique itself, let's pause and look at why it matters. The world we live in today is noisier, faster, and more distracting than at any time in history. Our phones buzz, our calendars overflow, and our minds race from one worry to another. Most of us carry stress, not just in our minds, but in our bodies too. We hold tension in our shoulders, clench our jaws, and replay conversations we wish had gone differently. We rarely give ourselves permission to let go. This is exactly why Brendon Burchard created something different. He wanted a meditation practice that wasn't about emptying the mind or escaping reality, but about actively releasing the tension, stress, and heaviness we carry throughout the day. So what is the release meditation technique? At its core, it's a mantra-based meditation. But unlike other practices that involve complex chants, foreign words, or elaborate rituals, this one is beautifully simple. The entire technique revolves around a single word, release. That's it, one word that becomes both your focus and your guide. As you sit quietly, you repeat the word release, either softly out loud or silently in your mind. With each repetition, you invite your body to relax and your mind to let go of whatever it's holding on to. Brendon Burchard explains that most people struggle with meditation because they overcomplicate it. They believe they need to silence every thought, control their breathing perfectly, or achieve some mystical state of enlightenment. And when they can't do that, they quit. The release meditation technique takes away that pressure. It doesn't demand perfection. It doesn't require you to stop thinking. Instead, it gives your mind a simple, clear instruction: release. Every time your thoughts wander, you come back to that word. Every time stress rises, you return to that word. It becomes an anchor, pulling you back into calm. What makes it unique is not just the simplicity, but the direct impact it has on how you feel. Think about the power of words in our lives. When someone says, calm down, it changes your state. When you repeat, I can, it builds confidence. In the same way, repeating release sends a message to your entire nervous system. The word itself becomes a trigger for your body to let go of tension. Your shoulders drop, your breath slows, your mind begins to unclench. It's like giving yourself permission over and over again to stop carrying the weight you've been holding. Success Magazine once described this as one of the easiest meditation techniques you'll ever try. And that's not an exaggeration. It doesn't matter if you've never meditated before or if you've tried and failed a dozen times, because here, there's no failing. As long as you sit down, close your eyes, and repeat the word release, you're doing it right. Brendon's insight was that meditation shouldn't feel like a struggle. It should feel like a gift, something you give yourself in the middle of a busy day, something that doesn't add pressure but takes it away. And here's something most people don't know. Brendon developed this method not just from reading spiritual texts, but from years of teaching high performers, athletes, executives, entrepreneurs, people who live in high stress environments. They needed something that worked fast and didn't feel foreign to them. The release meditation technique became that bridge. It combined the wisdom of mantra meditation with the practicality of a single English word anyone could understand. That's why it spread so quickly among his students. When you practice it, you begin to notice how much you've been holding without realizing it. Maybe it's the tension from a tough conversation. Maybe it's the stress of a looming deadline. Maybe it's the endless replay of past mistakes. With every release, you let a piece of that go. You don't have to fix everything in your life in that moment. You just have to let go, one breath, one word at a time. That's the beauty of it. Brendon often shares stories of people who, after just a few sessions, felt lighter than they had in years. Parents who found patience with their kids again. Leaders who walked into meetings with clarity instead of chaos. Everyday people who finally felt like they had a tool to handle stress without numbing themselves with distractions. It's not magic, but the results can feel magical. And science now backs this up. Studies show that mantra-based meditation reduces anxiety, improves focus, and even boosts physical health by lowering blood pressure and cortisol levels. What Success Magazine pointed out, and what Brendon emphasized long before mainstream wellness caught on, is that you don't need complicated systems to get these results. Just one word, practiced consistently, can shift your state in powerful ways. Another thing that makes the release meditation technique stand out is how it combines the mental with the physical. You're not only calming your thoughts, you're actively asking your body to let go. Brendon describes it as a full body reset. Imagine sitting down after a long day, repeating release, and feeling the muscles in your neck soften, the tightness in your chest ease, the tension in your back loosen. That's what this practice delivers when you give it your focus. There's also a subtle psychological power in the choice of the word itself. Most of us live in constant pursuit, chasing goals, chasing deadlines, chasing approval. The word release interrupts that chase. It reminds you that life is not just about holding, clinging, or pushing. Sometimes the greatest strength is in letting go. And in that letting go, you create space for peace, for clarity, for new energy to flow in. It's worth noting that while this method is simple, its effects deepen over time. At first, you may notice small changes, slightly calmer thoughts, a bit less stress, but with practice, it begins to rewire how you respond to daily challenges. Instead of reacting with frustration or panic, you learn to pause, to breathe, to release. That's why Brendon calls it one of the most important habits anyone can build, because it doesn't just help you feel better for 20 minutes, it reshapes how you live the rest of your day. What makes this even more remarkable is how accessible it is. You don't need a quiet retreat center or a yoga mat. You don't need hours of free time. You just need yourself, a few minutes, and the willingness to repeat one word. That's why so many people who thought they couldn't meditate finally found success with this method. It meets you where you are without judgment, without pressure. So, before we move forward, remember this. The release meditation technique isn't about escaping life. It's about equipping yourself to live it more fully. It's not about forcing stillness. It's about finding freedom in the act of letting go. One word, one habit, one practice that has already changed countless lives and could change yours too. When Brendon Burchard first began exploring meditation, he had the same experience that so many of us do. He went to bookstores, picked up stacks of books, and searched online articles, hoping to find a simple way to quiet his mind. But over and over again, he ran into the same problem. Authors and experts would talk endlessly about the benefits of meditation. They would explain how it could transform your health, your stress levels, and even your life. Yet when it came time to actually teach how to do it, the instructions were vague, confusing, or missing altogether. That gap became his frustration. How could something so widely praised be so poorly explained? It was like everyone agreed meditation was life-changing, but no one wanted to give the recipe. Brendon decided that if he couldn't find a clear method, he would create one. He wanted something that was not just clear, but also practical. Something a busy parent, a student, or an entrepreneur could do without needing years of training. He knew from his own life and from the lives of the people he coached that the world didn't need more complexity. It needed simplicity. So his vision became to design a meditation that was simple, easy, and effective. One that anyone could practice within minutes, no matter their background or experience. That vision became the release meditation technique. Brendon's genius was not in reinventing meditation, but in stripping it down to its most essential form. One word, one focus, one habit. By repeating the word release, a person could signal both the mind and the body to let go of the tension it was holding. And unlike so many meditation methods that seem wrapped in mystery, this one was straightforward. You sit down, you close your eyes, you repeat the word, and slowly you feel the pressure begin to fade. The benefits of this practice are not just inspiring stories, they're backed by science. Research has shown that mantra-based meditation reduces stress and anxiety. Brendon saw this firsthand when his students came to him weighed down by deadlines, financial worries, or personal challenges. After practicing the technique, they felt calmer, lighter, more in control. Science explains why repeating a simple word or sound creates a rhythm in the brain that lowers stress hormones and soothes the nervous system. But stress reduction was only the beginning. Another powerful effect was an improvement in focus and attention. Success Magazine highlighted this benefit, pointing out that practices like the release meditation technique sharpen your ability to concentrate. In a world where distractions are constant and our minds scatter in 100 directions, this focus is priceless. People who once felt overwhelmed discovered they could return to work with clarity. They were less reactive, more intentional, and far more productive. Then there's the emotional benefit. Regular practice has been shown to boost psychological well-being and feelings of refreshment. Brendon shared countless stories of people who felt emotionally recharged after just 20 minutes. They didn't just feel less stressed. They felt renewed. Tumblr communities that picked up his teaching echoed the same experience. People described feeling like they had taken a mental shower, washing away the buildup of stress and negativity. For many, it was the first time in years they felt truly present in their own lives. So how do you actually do it? The steps are: as straightforward as Brendon intended them to be. First, sit in a dignified yet relaxed position. This doesn't mean rigid or stiff, but upright enough that you feel alert. Closing your eyes helps turn down the external noise and bring your focus inward. Then, begin with the word release. Say it softly at first, maybe even out loud to find your rhythm. Over time, allow it to move inward, repeating it silently in your mind. The word becomes your mantra, a steady beat that carries you deeper into calm. The rhythm is important. You don't have to force it. Some people match it with their breathing, others simply let the word float at its own pace. The goal is not to control it, but to flow with it. At first, your mind may resist, thoughts will rush in. Lists of things to do, flashes of past mistakes, worries about the future. That's normal. Brendon emphasized that thoughts are not the enemy. When they come, acknowledge them, don't fight them, and don't follow them. Simply notice them, and then return your attention to the word release. Each time you come back, you strengthen your ability to focus. Each time you let go, you train your body to relax. This simple act of returning is where the real growth happens. It's not about having a blank mind. It's about building the habit of release. Again and again, thought after thought, stress after stress, moment after moment, you come back to the word. That's where the transformation lies. Now, let's talk about how long and how often to practice. Brendon recommends 20 minutes as the ideal length. That's enough time for the mind to settle and the body to unwind. For many people, those 20 minutes feel like a reset button, bringing them back to life with more energy and peace. He suggests practicing twice a day if possible, once in the morning to set the tone and once later in the day to release accumulated stress. Some people use it in transition times, like before going into an important meeting or after a long commute to shift their state quickly. But here's the beauty of this technique. It's flexible. If 20 minutes feels impossible, start with what you can. Even 2 minutes of repeating release can begin to shift your state. Every minute helps. You don't fail if you can't do the full session. The practice meets you where you are. That's why so many people stick with it. It doesn't punish you for being busy. It supports you. As people commit to this habit, they notice profound changes. Their minds no longer feel like runaway trains. Their bodies carry less tension. Their emotions stabilize. And all of this comes from something so deceptively simple. Sitting down, closing the eyes, and repeating one word. Brendon Burchard designed it to be the simplest meditation you'll ever try. And for thousands of people around the world, it has become one of the most effective. The release meditation technique wasn't born from theory. It was born from Brendon's frustration with overcomplicated teachings, his desire for clarity, and his commitment to creating tools that actually work. It is proof that sometimes the most powerful answers are also the simplest. And it continues to spread because once people try it, they feel the difference, not in months or years, but in minutes. One of the most overlooked benefits of the release meditation technique is the way it impacts the body. Most people think of meditation as something that only happens in the mind. They imagine calming thoughts, clearing mental clutter, and feeling mentally lighter. But Brendon Burchard explained that this practice works just as powerfully on the body as it does on the mind. When you sit down, close your eyes, and repeat the word release, you're not just guiding your thoughts, you're inviting your body to let go of the tension it's been holding. Think about it. If stress doesn't just live in your head, it shows up in your shoulders, your neck, your back, even in your stomach. It shows up in the way you slouch, the way you clench your jaw, the way you grind your teeth at night without even realizing it. We carry stress like invisible weights, and over time, those weights become part of how we move, how we stand, and even how we breathe. The release meditation technique interrupts that cycle. Every time you repeat the word release, you are sending a direct signal to your body, let go. Brendon often described how people practicing this technique for the first time notice their shoulders dropping within minutes. The body responds almost instinctively. Tumblr communities that picked up his meditation have shared the same experiences, people saying they felt warmth spreading through their arms, tension dissolving from their backs, or surprising ease in their breathing. What's happening is not imaginary. The nervous system is calming down, muscle tension is loosening, and the body is shifting into a more relaxed state. And it's not just physical stress that gets released. Emotional weight also finds its way out through this practice. We hold emotions inside us. In the same way we hold tension, anger sits in the chest, sadness in the throat, fear in the stomach. When you practice this meditation, repeating the word release, you're giving your emotions a safe way to move through you instead of staying stuck. Brendon explained that sometimes people even cry during their first sessions, not because the meditation is sad, but because their bodies are finally letting go of feelings they've been holding on to for years. That emotional release is healing. It makes room for joy, for clarity, for peace to return. Of course, getting to that place requires practice, and Brendon always shared tips to make the experience smoother. The first tip is simple. Find a quiet space. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need a mountain cabin or a meditation hall. A corner of your bedroom, a parked car, or even an office chair during a break can work. What matters is reducing distractions so you can give yourself permission to be fully present. Another tip is to use your voice at the beginning. Say the word release softly out loud until you find a rhythm that feels natural. Your body and mind connect more easily when you hear your own voice guiding the practice. Once that rhythm is established, you can move the mantra inside, repeating it silently in your mind. This transition helps anchor the meditation so it doesn't feel forced. Tumblr users who tried this often commented that starting with their voice made the practice feel more real and tangible, especially when they struggled to keep their focus. And here's something that can't be emphasized enough. Be kind with yourself. In the early sessions, your mind will wander. Thoughts will rush in and you'll wonder if you're doing it wrong. You might even feel clumsy or restless. Brendon always reminded his students that this is normal. Meditation is not about forcing perfection. It's about practicing release. Each time your thoughts pull you away, simply come back to the word. That gentle return is the practice. The more patient you are with yourself, the easier it becomes. Over time, the changes are undeniable. At first, it might feel like you're constantly wrestling with your own thoughts, but after several days, something begins to shift. The number of intrusive thoughts decreases. You notice longer stretches of silence between them. Success Magazine highlighted this effect, noting that mantra meditation like this creates a real and measurable improvement in mental clarity. It's as though the brain learns little by little how to stop chasing every thought and instead rest and calm. As you keep going, another change emerges. Presence. Instead of living in the past or worrying about the future, you find yourself more rooted in the moment. Brendon often described how people practicing this technique reported being more present with their loved ones, more focused on their work, and more alive in daily experiences. The frantic mental chatter fades, replaced by a deeper calm that carries into the rest of the day. And then there's the physical energy. People are surprised to find that after a session, they feel refreshed, almost as though they had a nap, but without the grogginess. Brendon explained that this is because meditation restores the body in a way stimulants never can. Instead of relying on caffeine to jolt you awake, you're giving your body genuine rest. This is why so many people report they no longer need that extra cup of coffee once they make meditation a daily habit. What's most inspiring is how these benefits show up in real-world situations. Imagine finishing a stressful day at work, your mind spinning with deadlines and problems. Instead of carrying that stress into your evening, you sit for 20 minutes, repeat the word release, and walk away feeling lighter. Or picture pausing before an important meeting. Instead of going in with a racing mind, you take a few minutes to center yourself with the technique, arriving clear, calm, and ready. Brendon often encouraged people to use this meditation in those transition moments, the times when you're shifting from one role to another, from chaos to calm, from stress to presence. He also issued a challenge that many of his students accepted. Practice the release meditation technique once a day for 10 days. Not forever, just 10 days. The results were often dramatic. People reported sleeping better, feeling more patient, and approaching life with a sense of peace they hadn't felt in years. 10 days was enough to show them what was possible. For many, it became the beginning of a lifelong habit. That's the beauty of this practice. It doesn't demand months of effort before you see results. The benefits show up quickly in your body, in your emotions, and in your everyday life. When this word, repeated with intention, has the power to dissolve stress, release tension, and bring you back to yourself. Brendon Burchard built the release meditation technique to be a gift, simple, practical, and deeply transformative. And with every session, you feel more of its impact, not just in your mind, but in your body, your emotions, and the way you live your life. The release meditation technique is proof that the simplest practices can create the deepest impact. Just one word, release, repeated with intention, has the power to calm your mind, ease your body, and free your emotions. You don't need complicated rituals or perfect silence. You just need consistency. Even a few minutes each day can shift how you feel, how you think, and how you show up in life. So start small. Build it into your routine. Try it today and notice how much lighter, calmer, and clearer you feel. Over time, you'll discover more peace, more presence, and far less stress weighing you down. If this video inspired you, we'd love to hear about your experience. Share it in the comments below, and if you're ready for more practical tools to build habits of clarity and greatness, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel, Habits of Greatness. Your journey to a calmer, more focused life starts right here, and we'll be with you every step of the way.